contrasted starkly with the situation in the Egyptian army.
The retreating Egyptian army did not carry much water with it. Thousands, or perhaps even 10,000s of Egyptian soldiers died during 1967 because they lost their units and they were cut off from water supplies.
They have to walk 200 kilometers. No sleep, no food, no water, no medicine, nothing at all.
It's likely that in the Sinai, the Egyptians suffered more casualties to heat than to enemy action. By Friday, June 9th, the Egyptians had been driven back across the Suez Canal. Israel had captured Jerusalem and the West Bank from Jordan after 2 days of bitter fighting. Yet the Israeli and Syrian armies had still not engaged. The theater of war would now move to Israel's northeast border with Syria, the Golan Heights. This mountainous area was vitally important because it gave Syria a near impregnable defensive position.
The Syrian exploits the nature of the Golan Heights. It's very steep, and they use the slope to build 3 lines of fortifications.
To have any chance of success against the Syrians, the Israelis needed to concentrate all their available forces.
The most important factor there was that the Israelis had already finished with both the Egyptian and the Jordanian fronts, and they had diverted all their power to the Syrian front.
This rusting, shell-splintered half-track testifies to the bloody struggle that occurred here. But by Saturday, June 10th, Israel had taken the Golan Heights. Much of that success came down to the Israelis' ability to hit concealed Syrian artillery positions. How did they know where to strike? The answer lies in the extraordinary story of Eli Cohen, Israel's most famous spy. In 1961, Cohen's brothers, Abraham and Morris, were kept in the dark about his real life.
We didn't know exactly what he is doing abroad, but we do know that Eli is doing something for the government.
Cohen was working undercover in Syria for Mossad, the Israeli secret service.
We needed desperately to have somebody to work for us there, to give us information when they will attack us.
And Cohen's upbringing in Egypt helped maintain his cover.
He was a Jew who came from an Arab country, and he knew very well Arabic.
Cohen, Agent 088, was known in Syria as Kamal Amin Tabet. He became close friends with General El Hafez, the president, and incredibly was appointed a member of the country's high command.
He was given a free hand and access to all the positions everywhere. He was even escorted by military commanders to visit positions, and he had drawn detailed plans.
So secure was his access that he was able to pose for this photograph during a visit to the Golan Heights with Syrian military officials. All the while, he was gathering valuable information for his real bosses. But Cohen's luck would soon run out. In January 1965, he was caught sending a coded transmission from his home in Damascus.
I think that this lemon was squeezed too hard, and this is why he was found.
Cohen was interrogated by Syrian intelligence, tortured, and put on public trial.
I thought that the Mossad will succeed to rescue him.
Then suddenly they said they're going to hang him.
On May 18th, 1965, the Cohen family watched in horror as his execution was broadcast live on Syrian television.
We lost our world. We didn't know what to do.
But what had Cohen's espionage actually achieved? One famous story recounts that after Cohen's tour of artillery positions on the Golan, he made a strong recommendation to the Syrian High Command.
He says those guys are suffering from sunburn and heat casualties. We must do something to protect them from the sun. Nothing is too good for our boys in the field. Plant trees by every artillery emplacement. And they do. They plant trees by every Syrian artillery emplacement on the Golan Heights. And the Israelis watch these trees growing up, telling them exactly where every Syrian artillery emplacement is.
Can this story really be believed? 40 years after Cohen's death, his brothers have come to the Golan Heights in search of evidence.
It's very exciting to be here in the very spot that Eli walked here with the Syrian delegation in the border.
They found what they believe was one of the Syrian fortified positions their brother visited. This vast complex of hidden bunkers is still intact.
You see, this is another bunker. This is another one. All around the area, there is many bunkers.
You see this eucalyptus tree?
Yeah.
Perhaps Eli suggested to plant them here as a shelter from the sun here for the Syrian soldiers.
Tellingly, the Golan slopes in this area are virtually bare. But around the bunker complex today, there are many mature eucalyptus trees. This would suggest that Eli Cohen succeeded in helping the Israelis to pinpoint Syrian artillery positions.
He had sent to the Israeli military detailed plans of where the positions are and the number of troops there. And in fact, they had known almost everything about the Syrian forces in that area.
Though Cohen died 2 years before the Six-Day War, he undoubtedly influenced its outcome. Yet even with this invaluable intelligence, much more blood would be spilt before Israel had conquered the Golan Heights.